Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Professor Azhar Ali Shah at the University of Sindh. Welcome to my class of Artificial Intelligence, Week 9, Lecture 2. And today we'll be discussing application of adversarial search in games. What is a game? It's a competitive environment. It is a conflicting environment. And in terms of games, it reminds me one of the verses of the Holy Quran, which says, وَمَا الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَهْوٌ. The life of this world is nothing but a game, a play. And as we discussed in previous lecture, the game theory, the adversarial search, and the conflicting environment, competitive environment is everywhere. In all disciplines, all fields, all situations. And this is what our life is. It's a competitive environment. There is an evil, which is our opponent. And as a human, we are supposed to do good, to achieve good, to be the propagators of the good. The more good we do, the more reward we get, and we become the winners. That's the goal. And there is a concept of the evil, the devil, Shaitan, makes us our life a competitive situation, a game-like situation. And that is how the Creator has also given a symbolic analogy of game with the life of the human in this world, this worldly life. So today we will be discussing how adversarial search could be used in games, which types of games are there, and what are different categories, classification of these games. And then in the next lecture, we will be discussing the actual algorithm, the min-max algorithm, which we can use to deploy the adversarial search for the solution of adversarial problems or situations relating to a vast variety of fields and domains in our life, as we discussed in previous lecture. So let's start with the presentation. Okay. So this is the second lecture of week 9, and today applications of adversarial search in games, and this is the brief description or definition of what we mean by a game. As a computer scientist, as an artificial intelligence expert, we have to make a model. We have to represent the game in the computer system model and then simulate it. So in order to represent the game, to prepare the model, we have to make some assumptions, we have to make some descriptions, and then we could start with the design and implementation. So game basically is a conflicting situation where there are different players, which we call agents. They are competing with each other. They are moving and taking actions against each other with a particular goal to maximize their gain, achieve maximum score, and to minimize the loss. To minimize the loss means to save their position from the loss. So that is conflicting situation, and it involves the players, more than one player. multiple players. And there is starting timing, and then the times of the moves, and the strategies, and then the terminal point where the game ends, where the scores are counted and summed up, and the game is declared which party or which player won the game. So the goals are conflicting. That means every player would be trying to achieve the maximum score and to reduce the and to give harm or loss to the other player. And the game involves the moves, and these moves are based on strategies. Strategy means making a plan. When you make a plan, which move to take, which action to take, this is called the strategic decision making. And strategic decision making is very important for a better outcome, better result of what we are doing. And then these all lead to the results, which we call the outcomes in the terminology of the computer, or the payoffs. So what we achieve is the outcome, what we achieve is the result, what we achieve is the payoff. So this is the terminology which is related to the game's environment. And game of life, for example, it is displayed here. There are several other games which we will discuss. Okay, now the game situation or the conflicting situation in games may have different features or characteristics, properties. They may have perfect information. It means they are open, they are transparent, all information is available. The game may have imperfect information. That means the details are not available, information is not available, it is not disclosed, it is hidden, it is secret, and the moves and the actions may be taken in blind. So not knowing the environment, you have to work and achieve your task. This is called the imperfect information in the games. And then deterministic games. Deterministic relates to the doctrine of determinism in philosophy, which relates to the cause and effect relationship. Deterministic means you know the cause and you know the effect. It's the situation where you know the cause, what is the cause and what would be the effect. So cause and effect relationship is known. When this relationship is known, that means you can make the prediction. You can predict the outcome, you can predict the chances of the success, whatever strategy, whatever decision you are going to make. So this is deterministic, and non-deterministic is opposite of the deterministic, where you are not sure, where you do not know the cause and effect relationship. It is non-deterministic. It may occur randomly. It may occur any based on the stochastic, based on the probabilistic activity, which cannot be predicted accurately or 100%. And then the last category in terms of the situation of the games is zero-sum games. A zero-sum game means whatever the action is taken by one player, whatever achievement of the one player is compensated by the other player, by the second player. So whatever I achieve, my score, the other person, the other player loses their score. This is called zero sum. So my score plus the opposite player's score would be sum would be zero. So I win, other lose. There are no chances of win-win. There is no compromise. There is no collaboration, but it is 100% competition and win or lose situation, do or die situation. That is called the zero-sum situation, in which other person, the loser, does not have any iota, does not have any percentage of achievement at all. Okay, so based on these different scenarios, we have different categories of the games. some of which are listed here. Starting from the topmost left corner, you see the very popular game, the game which we all play, almost all of us, the chess. It is deterministic and it has perfect information. Under this category, we have four commonly played games: chess, then checkers, then Go, then Othello. You have deterministic means rules are predefined, regulations are predefined, there is nothing hidden, there is nothing secret, there is nothing blind move, and information is available. It is all before you, and complete information and well planned and well arranged, well defined rules, set of rules. Now, only and only depends upon your intelligence how you make the strategic decision in order to win your position. And the second category, on the right corner, you see the deterministic and imperfect information. So the rules are defined, but the information is not complete. So it may involve the blind moves. You do not know some information, but you have to make the move, take the action, and see the outcome. So, for example, battleship. Now, when you are in the war situation, for example, you do not know the exact information. You may not know the complete information of your opponent, your enemy, but you may have the rules, the regulations, the constitution, the international laws, and all these things which govern that particular area of activity. So tic-tac-toe, this is a commonly played game. Kriegspiel, Battleship, and there are many other games which are deterministic but having imperfect information. And similarly, chance and perfect information. At the bottom left, you see chance and perfect information. Chance means the outcome is based on the randomness. It is not deterministic. There are no predefined set of rules. So the moves could be taken randomly. And information about the game is available completely or available perfectly. So examples are Monopoly, examples are backgammon, and some other games which are popularly played. These are all the board games which are played in the computer, and there are international champions of all these games. So the artificial intelligence basically nowadays reached at the level where the computer is defeating the expert human, the champion human. For example, the chess game and all other games. So many a times the computer is defeating, is winning. So that means the artificial intelligence has reached the level of maturity, so it could defeat the human expert of the particular field, particular game. This shows the evolution, the progress of the artificial intelligence and its application. And then the fourth category, examples of games in the fourth category, where we have chance, that means non-deterministic, rules are not defined, and imperfect information. Information is also not complete. So random and imperfect information, for example, the bridge that we commonly play, the poker, the Scrabble, these are some of the games which are non-deterministic, which are based on the randomness and have incomplete information. Now, these are all the various scenarios where we could use the adversarial search algorithm to implement these games. And the parameters, the strategies, the pseudocode, the algorithm steps could be different based on these types of constraints which are provided for each game in terms of these categories. It is very important to understand the nature of the game and then we can make the model and we can start with the design and implementation. The last category of the game is the zero-sum game. Here you see these are two mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means they are not sharing any outcome. They are not sharing any achievement. The achievement of one is the loss of the other. One wins, other loses. There's no situation which is shared. There's no percentage which is shared at all. So we are opponents. When I win, you lose. When you win, I lose. That is zero sum. That is called the zero sum game. And there are many situations. For example, there is competition for a project. I win the project in the auction. I win the auction, you lose in the stock exchange, in the business, in the fight, I win in the conflict, in the argument, in the logic, in the point. So one loses and one wins. It is called the zero sum. And this diagram shows the representation of zero sum in terms of the particular notation. So for example, minus A loses, A gains, and the sum would be 0. C minus C, B minus B, D minus D. Minus means the loser and plus means the winner. So the sum is 0, minus 30, 30, 10, minus 10. That means whoever wins, the other opponent loses by that score. It's a compensation. The other opponent, the second player, will have to, his or her score will be reduced by that much number, by that much score, which is won by the first player. So that is compensation based zero sum game situation, which is mostly in the most of the games. This is illustration of the zero sum game. First in the stock market and the next in the foreign exchange. So one person gets, for example, profit in the game, in the business. There are competitors, different companies, they're competing for same project, for same proposal, for example, for same resource. So one company or one individual, one person gets a particular resource, particular project, the other one will be the loser. And similarly, in the foreign exchange zero sum game, that one transaction, one amount, one person who wins gets the amount, and the other person who loses has to give that amount, compensate that amount. This is the zero sum game representation in terms of finance and trade. Okay, so non-zero sum game are also there, and this diagram illustrates that there may be some space, there may be some area which is called overlapping interests, and this is not mutually exclusive, it is inclusive, partially inclusive. Partially inclusive means there are some areas where may be collaboration and benefit of one also benefit the other. This is the situation where businesses, where multiple players, multiple agents, they collaborate rather than compete, they collaborate. And when they collaborate, they share the outcome, they share the results. So in research, for example, we say that rather than competing, we should be creating a collaborative environment so that all are in win-win position. If we are in the same team, for example, in the same university, we have to collaborate. Different department, different groups, different disciplines. So when we collaborate, then we share the outcome. When we share the outcome, that means we all are in the win-win situation. No one is absolute winner, no one is absolute loser. And that's what gives the satisfaction, gives the share. So these are different models which are in practical and real life, which we act upon. Okay, so today we discussed the application of adversarial search in games, different types of games, different categories of games, different characteristics and properties of games, and their classification also. And also we learned that the game is providing us the same type of environment where a human life is an example of. Human life is just like a game. So you have to compete, and game in game we say that we must have the sportsman spirit. Sportsman spirit means no defeat is the last defeat, and no win is the first win. Again, you have to move, you have to compete, you have to improve your skills, and you have to play again and again, refine again and again. There may be mistakes. Human is subject to there. There may be mistakes, there may be problems, there may be defeats, there may be successes, but all it should be taken in the perspective that we have to improve, we have to enhance our skills, we have to enhance our expertise to win again. So this is all about the application of adversarial search in games, and I hope you are enjoying these video lectures. And if you have any suggestions, any comments, please visit my YouTube channel and leave the comments in the YouTube channel comments box, in comments area. We will be interacting, and also I will be embedding this lecture in the LMS, the Learning Management System of the University of Sindh, where I will upload both the PPT slides as well as the YouTube channel link will also be there. It will be embedded and it will appear in the e-portal system for all the students, who are registered for this class. But anyone can go to the YouTube channel. Parents, civil society, whoever is interested, they can see the quality of the lectures being delivered, not only for me, for all the teachers. And then it is your feedback, it is your suggestion, your perspective that will help us to improve. This is just beginning, a new era in the field of teaching and learning in the era of the coronavirus. So I say that it is a blessing in disguise indeed that at least we have started using this modern technology, and this is very encouraging that from consumers now we have started to be producers. We are producing our own slides, we are producing our own video lectures. Though these types of things are being done internationally from school to university level by all the teachers in their own ways to help and facilitate the students. Thank you very much. All the very best. See you again.